The value chain was introduced by Michael S. Porter in 1985 in the book Competitive Advantage. Value chain is used to analyze the flow of value-adding activities such as purchasing, production, and marketing that are linking a raw material supplier to the end customer. The model looks at what value each link adds the company and thereby uncovers the company's competitiveness. The value chain consists of 9 value activities that together create added value and thereby the company's margin. Margin, in many places also called profit, is actually the value chain 10th field. Here there is no activity. The field size is dependent on the previous 9 fields. The profit is equal to the difference between the value chain's total value, which is the value of the product for the customer. That is the price he is willing to pay for the product, and the total cost of producing the product, which is the total of the costs that are in the value chain 9 activities. The 9 activities are divided into 2 categories. The first is primary activities. These activities include the main activities. All 5 activities are directly involved in the production of the actual product. The second category is support activities. They go across the major activities and aims to coordinate their functions best as possible to each other. The primary activities consist of the 5 activities at the bottom of the model, which is inbound logistics, operations, outbound logistics, marketing and sales, and service. Each of these activities is discussed in the following. Inbound logistics can consist of receiving goods, inspections, storage, receiving return goods, etc. Operations include activities associated with transforming raw materials and components into new products. Outbound logistics are activities associated with order processing, packaging, shipping. Everything which is dealing with the distribution of the finished product to buyers. Marketing and sales are activities associated with providing the customer information about the product's excellence, which should lead to a sale. Marketing and sales are involved in determining the distribution channel, pricing, promotion, personal selling, etc. Service are activities which ensure that the purchased goods enhances or preserves value for the customer. The service could include advice in person or online, repairs, customer training, ongoing maintenance, and so on. This was the 5 primary activities. Now follows support activities. Supporting activities consist of 4 activities. They are in the upper part of the model and consist of procurement, technology development, human resource management, and firm infrastructure. Each of these activities is discussed in the following. Support activity, procurement, are activities that refers to the function of purchasing, not the physical input. Procurement supports all the primary activities. It may be the establishment of procurement routines for the purchase of raw materials for inbound logistics. But there must also be negotiations about purchasing of energy and service to the machines in operations. Buying of new cars for delivery of goods is outbound logistics. There must be purchase procedure to marketing and sales about buying advertising. New cars for service technicians, it's service in the model. Effective procurement routines can greatly influence purchase costs and thereby contribute to higher profits. The support activity, technology development, must be understood broadly. It is the overall systems that provide an overview of the entire organization. The sales department have the opportunity to see whether the products that the customer demands is out of stock, how far they are in production, and when they can be delivered. It may involve ERP systems that bind the entire organization's information together. Support activity, human resource management, includes recruitment, training, retention, motivation of the firm's staff. Many times it is the HR department's responsibility that the right skills is available at the right time in various departments. A simple example is that before marketing and sales contact the first potential customer in Japan, HR department helps with hiring a person who understands the Japanese language and their culture. Support activity, firm infrastructure is a kind of superstructure or umbrella which covers all other activities. It supports both the primary activities and support activities. It includes the organization of the company, management, planning, quality management, finance, etc. Now follows a brief explanation of how you can use the model in practice. If the manufacturer of a product is going to have a profit and survive, the total value of the product for the customer have to be greater than the cost of creating the product. Therefore, you should regularly review the 9 activities and analyze if the individual activities carried out gives more value to the customer than the cost they accumulate. If you find areas or points where you cannot answer yes, then you should modify or discontinue these activities. You thereby continuously improve your company's competitiveness. Here follows an example of the use of the value chain with a manufacturer of blades for wind turbine. For simplicity, first we will review the primary activities. A manufacturer receives in inbound logistics raw materials to be included in the blade later. The raw materials shall hereafter be part in primary activity operations in which the blade will be produced. When the finished turbine blade are transported by truck, it is part of the primary activity outbound logistics. It is probably due to quality, durability, etc. that we have convinced the buyer about the value of our blades. This is part of the primary activity, marketing and sales. The maintenance of the blade, it's part of the primary activity, service. Support activities has throughout the process supported up around the primary activities. Support activity procurement has probably been helpful in preparing contracts for the purchase of raw materials in primary activity, inbound logistics. Agreement with a trucking company on transportation of the blade in primary activity, outbound logistics. As well as establish procedures for purchase of flights and hotels to maintenance staff in primary activity service. Support activity technology development has probably been helpful by calculating the need for raw materials in the blade in operations. Plans for when the individual blades are delivered in outbound logistics. And when the surface has to be maintained in service are probably part of the support from technology development. Support activity human resource have hopefully a share in all other activities placed below them. An example would be the blades that are delivered offshore. Here they must make sure that the people have the right training in relation to the rules of working at sea. Support activity firm infrastructure is, as said before, an umbrella of all other activities. It supports these 8 activities. If the blade manufacturer is to remain in the market, all 9 activities must be under ongoing analysis. It must be determined whether the activities provide more value to the customer than it costs to implement them. Customers' priorities may well change over time. There may be new technologies to increase productivity in the chain. There should therefore be continuously evaluation after improvement. Finally comes a critique of the model. The model is created on the basis of the 80s major American companies that produce to stock. Today many big companies are order producing. Maybe therefore the primary activity, marketing and sales, should be placed further ahead in the chain. Many will only start production when the goods are sold in advance. Based on this knowledge, the model's linear structure seems very rigid. The model has a built-in tendency to place the company in a defensive position at the expense of the company's creativity and readiness for change. They are always looking for small improvements in relation to the existing product, a form of incremental innovation. The model does not include the option to switch to something else. It's really static. The good thing about the model is that it continuously forces you to look for improvement that provide greater value to your customer.